good.
Hi guys, my name is Jo and I'm the CEO and founder of NaviStar Legal, and today we have Bob Sharon, and he is the founder and Chief Innovation Officer of Blue IoT. Welcome, Bob.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming along. And look, there was a reason that I specifically asked you, because you, when we talked, you had such an enthusiasm for your business and such energy and passion. I was like, this guy, I've got to have a conversation with this guy, which is recorded. So today we're going to talk a little bit about Bob's journey into business. We're going to talk about the kind of business that he's in, how he's got there, how things have been over the last couple of weeks, because the last time we spoke was a couple of weeks ago. It was at lockdown. I know you're in Australia. So I'm just curious to find out, and some of the philosophies that keep Bob going and keep him so enthusiastic in such a strange world. So Bob, why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey into business?
Okay, well, I come from an IT background. One of my first jobs going way back was operating an IBM 360, which was ancient when I got there. It was so ancient, in fact, it reads cards. So a lot of the younger generation won't say, what's that? That's a discussion for another time. So I had a life of IT, and through IT, I got into data centers. And I got to become a bit of a data center nerd, and to this day I judge them globally for fun. I don't get paid for it, I do it for love. But through data centers, I learned that they use or have a carbon footprint the size of aviation. In fact, they take around 3% of the world's energy, which is huge, absolutely huge. Mind you, the carbon footprint today, I think aviation shrunk a whole lot, but nevertheless, that led me in to where we are today, because I got into smart buildings. I got into sustainability. So it's a weird way to get into sustainability, but that's the path I took.
Through the path of IT.
Through the path of data centers, because they chewed up so much power, and I was focused on how can we improve data centers, how can we make them more energy efficient, even put together a couple of innovative designs around data centers. And that led me into sustainable buildings and smart cities and stuff like that. So very weird path. Plus, I was a square peg in a round hole, to quote Steve Jobs. I did not fit the corporate mold. And if you don't fit the corporate mold, then you call a spade a spade. They are what's called career limiting moves, which led me into 3 retrenchments.
So your career limiting moves, were they what kind of spurred you into the self-employed, setting up business world? And then how did you make that switch? I'm always interested, because for me, I thought I didn't need to make a switch setting up in my own. I was like, well, I work in a business, so of course there's no switch to make. But then I realized, big mindset shifts. How did you make that shift from employed to self-employed?
Well, when you're an employee and you're earning good money, you don't think about it, because when I was in IT, I said, oh, gee, I'm earning good money, I've got some other investment properties, and I'm doing all right, I'm not rich, but I'm doing fine, and I'm quite comfortable, and that's how I used to think. However, when problems arose within big companies, whether it was to do with customer service or treatment of staff, I'm not one to be shy, and I would speak up, and certain senior people did not like that, and too bad. So in the end, it was too hard, and in effect, after the 3rd retrenchment for doing such things, I then had to contemplate and think, what am I going to do? One mate of mine, when I say mate, he was in facilities and come from the data center space as well, from Adelaide, said to me, why don't you do this NABERS training? And NABERS, for those that don't know, is an acronym for the National Australian Built Environment Rating System. And it measures the energy efficiency of a building or a data center or a place for the last 12 months. So it's not about design, it's about outcome. And he said, why don't you just go do this? Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. That sounds like fun, and that taught me all about test and measure. And as I did that, then that led me into start another company back in 2012 around, making buildings and data centers more sustainable and making them more energy efficient. And so I was kind of forced into that. So, it was just a bit of contemplation and, well, I'm not going to fit the corporate mold. So, okay, well, let's see what happens. I might try this.
So what do you now, off the back of not fitting them, do you now, like a bit like Steve Jobs used to do, like, do you now create jobs for the square pegs? Or do you, and are you now a collection of square pegs? Or are you creating, is the culture pegless? Like, what I mean by that is, how is the culture of your company now affected by your old experience?
It is. We're either square pegs or no pegs. So for me, I basically, we're so multicultural, not deliberately, but I take people on the basis of, what's your attitude? How capable are you? In other words, have you got the capabilities, and how flexible are you? And in the end, what's happening is I'm helping my staff write their own job descriptions, because I don't want to force people into a particular, place like big companies do. You get a job, that's your job description, you go into that corner, that's it. You want to have ideas, and I always used to have ideas about doing other things, even in those big companies, but mostly they didn't listen. And that was hard. Whereas now I want people to be happy and productive. So they're all smart, right attitude, and we're all focused on outcomes. That's internally and predominantly for our customers, of course, because we're nothing without our customers. And so I have the attitude of, I want my staff to be happy. So we might get them to try a few different things, within a few different areas, and I want them to excel. So I'm kind of helping them write their own job descriptions, and we have one highly discriminatory policy. Like, it's everyone's ears flapping here. If you haven't got a sense of humour, you cannot work for Blue IoT. That is fundamental, right? You can't have fun and you can't get around, well, what's the point? Why are we working? I mean, really, right? So we joke around the office a lot. We have a lot of fun. We're very flexible. People, work late or they're doing other stuff. They come in at 10. Yeah, so what? Big deal, We're totally flexible. And that's the kind of environment we have. So I think we're all square pegs. We're all weird. But it doesn't matter, It's about just enjoying, but the productivity levels are through the roof.
I was going to say, is it a secret to success? What is your secret to success? Because you guys are doing pretty well right now, and what is it that you would, if you boiled it all down, what's the secret sauce? What's the mystery to it?
Okay, you asked for this one, all right? You opened a can of worms on this. Firstly, in my former business, I thought the key to success was me, my ideas, my way of doing things. I didn't even have advisors in my former business. Today, I've actually got my big boss upstairs, right? I've got a higher being, our creator, my God, and
amazing.
And a whole bunch of great advisors. I've got some fantastic advisors now and adding more to the business. So I consult them, and so I've got something much greater than myself. And with all of that, totally different to before. Totally different. It's just fantastic. So I've got enough energy to sink a few Titanics.
Yeah, energy, that's definitely what I get from you. You've got like a lot of energy around what you do. Tell me about the purpose and the vision, because saving the environment or being there for the environment, that's a big part of what you do. How does that drive you?
Well, that comes out of the word blue in Blue IoT. IoT, Internet of Things, well, that's just a bunch of stuff connected to each other. That's nice. Some people try to go out selling this. Well, why? What am I going to get with something connected to each other? For what purpose? It doesn't serve a purpose. But we leverage IoT as an enabler. It's an enabler to deliver something. And blue is the blue economy. So the blue economy is, what does it take to build a ground, a sports ground, or a hotel, or an office building, or a school, or a university? What effect does it have on the people using it? then what effect does it have on the community and the greater planet? It's a 360-degree view in the blue economy, which incorporates the circular economy for those that are familiar with that. So it's a greater 360-degree view of the circular economy. And so for us, it's about smart cities, smart buildings. So what drives me is delivering outcomes to every single bottom line, right? So when I say bottom line, we talk of traditional bottom lines. So we're talking about great reductions in energy and maintenance and costs and all of those things. That's easy peasy actually. Not for others, but it's easy for us. But we're then talking about huge impacts to the environment. So massive reductions in carbon footprint. So for those going for carbon neutrality, and in fact, maybe even going carbon negative. And so again, we can help customers do this in bringing in other partnerships around renewable and on-site renewable and all sorts of other stuff in doing that. So for me, it's about helping the environment. It's about helping the bottom line, but it's also about helping the people inside. Because one of the problems in these places is the quality of the environment, the air quality. You go in a building and quite often you're cool in some parts of the building and hot in others. They're terribly managed because they're run on archaic old building management systems and they're too expensive to change because they're proprietary. So what we're pushing forward is a system that is open platform, open APIs, democratization of data, client owns data, things like this. And so by doing that, we can collaborate with other platforms, democratize data, and make buildings safer, happier, more comfortable for people, even in COVID-19, where we can map out where people are sitting and make sure that people aren't exceeding the numbers they need to in a COVID situation or whatever, and checking air quality, checking filtration, checking all these things automatically to make the environment a much happier place and then move into the WELS type ratings of buildings and therefore making them more productive. So imagine, we're saving a lot of money, we're making these places happier for people and more productive by managing lighting better, heating and cooling, and the whole environment with the building, the water quality, the air quality, a whole bunch of stuff. That then goes into agriculture as well. All sorts of interesting stuff. So imagine that everybody wins. So our philosophy is there are no losers, right? Those people that say you can screw people down and they're winners and losers. No, sorry, I'm not into that argument.
I was going to ask you that. Tell me a couple of things that you hold to be absolutely fundamental truths in business. There is no question. This is definitely a rule.
It's called the law of sowing and reaping. That's a universal law. In India, they call it karma. In China, it's called guangxi. Westerners think of that as the network, but it's actually the honor system. Let your yes be yes, right? You give your word, you deliver. And so for us, it's about doing the right thing. It's about honoring our customers and suppliers. So it's about doing the right thing. So obviously we're trying to work with good suppliers, not with those that are, a bit wishy-washy. So highly ethical supply chain, highly, so all the people we deal with, again, we're dealing with good people, minimizes the risk. And so when you're doing that, it's about, being honorable, it's about being ethical, and it's about focusing on outcomes. Because too many people say, yeah, we'll deliver this is the price, that's great. And they don't really care, you're a number. And that's common to a lot of larger organizations because we've got 10 divisions and each of the divisions are in for their cut for the action. That's all they care about. So one of my challenges is going to be, as we grow across the globe, is going to be how can we ensure we don't fall into the trap of those big multinationals as we become one. And that is, so the way we hire, the way we share our bonuses, the way we interoperate and operate internally and externally, we're going to make sure that we never lose sight of our customers, our suppliers, and working collaboratively internally and externally. So that's fundamental. So high level of ethics and a place where everybody wins. I don't believe in winners and losers, as I said, and that includes staff. Staff have got to be winners and they're going to be in for part of the share of this, because if you don't take them, on the journey, well, then you've got an ordinary company, right? There's a book, In Search of Excellence. It's an old one. It's a great book, and it talks about the difference between the most excellent companies and your average companies. And those most excellent companies are those that want to just keep exceeding, keep improving, keep doing better. And for us, it's not about being ordinary. It's about over-delivering. It's about making sure everybody wins along the way. And that certainly includes staff, because if your staff are not in on the ride, how are you going to deliver outcomes to your customers? Right?
How do you keep track of that? Because as a principal, I love that idea, right? I not just love the idea, I think it's the only way you can do business, but keeping track of all of the stakeholders across everywhere and how everybody's doing, how do you manage that? Is that through feedback? Is that through, if there's an issue, then you kind of deal with it in an ethical manner? Or do you have like a process that allows you to make sure everybody is happy at all times? Like, how do you manage that?
Well, we're still growing, so we're developing processes, but fundamental to what we do is constant feedback. Constant feedback. So, for example, when we win a project, the first thing we do is what's called a stakeholder workshop. So we get all the stakeholders from the customer, might be finance, operations, facilities, whatever, our engineering team, and we all come together and we find out, okay, well, they've already ordered the project. They kind of know what they want. But what we want to know is, how do they want it? What do they want to get out of it? And then make sure we deliver what they want. And then even as we deliver it, we constantly go back to our customers and say, okay, well, is this okay? How do you like these dashboards? How do you like these reports? And after it's commissioned, is this okay? How do you like this? Or can we improve this? And we do that. We don't charge the customer, right? So the whole point is constant feedback, constant coming back to them. And as we grow, we'll have, a process of feedback loops that will be able to be set up, within our system to make sure that we have these feedback loops and that we're addressing them. Now, we're human. We've made mistakes. If something goes wrong, you own up to it, right? Most companies don't do that, right? We say, yep, now we've checked here. Okay, on this one, we stuffed up. But this is what we're going to do to fix it. We're doing A, B, C, and by tomorrow we'll have this, we'll have that person there, and this will be addressed and it will be fixed, sir. And we apologize, right? Because we're human. We do make mistakes. Problems happen, right? But you've got to own up to it, and client and customers appreciate it because they know you've admitted the problem, but then they've got a plan from us on how we're going to deal with it and fix it. And that's what they want. A company to take responsibility for their actions and not pass the buck. We have a common sport in Australia. It's called handball, right? When you're playing Australian rules football. But in business, it's about handball. In other words, let's blame someone else. Oh, no, it's not our fault. I'm sure you've never heard of this problem.
Not in the legal industry, no, that never happens. Nobody gets the blame. I think that's why the legal industry was set up, was to legally work out who was to blame. So yeah, I can totally relate. To that. It's easier said than done. And you know what? It takes a lot of courage to say that. I know when things have gone wrong, it's not always easy. It's not always easy to see the other side. I was talking to mediators recently about how can you be willing to come to the other person's perspective on a situation that's gone wrong when actually it's not on you, but you need to be a part of the solution to fix it. How do you not get into that blame game? It's not as easy as it sounds, and it takes a lot of straight talking and difficult discussions, difficult conversations. And it's very difficult, I think, when you're not blaming, and I'm not saying that blaming is the default, but it's very difficult not to want to find who is responsible or what's gone wrong without there being this kind of finger pointing. A family member of mine said that on his first day something horrendous happened, that he shouldn't have done something, or and they took him one of these kind of San Diego type IT environments, and they were like, right, let's just have a debrief on it. And there was no you did this. It was just, right, what should have happened, what could have happened, right, this is how we learn from these mistakes. going forward. And I think it's powerful, very powerful to get that kind of feedback. But not always the case, and really difficult to implement. I love it. I wonder if, I know that one of the things you guys are doing to grow, you're thinking about investment. Tell me about your philosophy around that.
Yeah, look, in the beginning, we were more aggressive on investment. We have a number of small investors. I think we've raised a few $100,000 of investments, but we're actually after $10 million. Having said that, though, we're in a position where we don't have to have it. We're growing organically. We're scaling up through channel partners across the globe, and we've set up channel partners in Dubai, Saudi Arabia, Asia, USA, Canada. Actually got one coming up in the UK and Scotland, and there'll be more to come. But one thing I have resolved is that we don't want a traditional VC, because traditional VCs, have a quota. They know that out of 100 companies they invest in, 3 or 4 might take off, and it might be toilet paper, mobile phones, blockchain, whatever the case may, whatever's in fashion. As long as it sounds good, they'll put it in, and then they'll want to exit in 2 or 3 years, or whatever the case may be. I'm not interested in that kind of investor. I'm very picky. So ideally for us, it's going to be perhaps a family office who's looking for an ethical partner company to invest for the future. And the future, of course, is very much in smart buildings, smart cities, smart places, green tech, prop tech, which we cover all of these categories.
Like Internet of Things is such a sexy new, like it's the new I was gonna say not the new bubble, that's not the right word, but it's the new thing that everybody's going for. It used to be, I'm going to go for, we're going for prop tech. This is kind of the next stage on, isn't it? It's smart tech at its best. So
it is.
Yeah.
It's IoT, prop tech, and green tech, which we have. And one of our secrets is we bring IT, OT, IoT, and the building engineering disciplines under one roof. And we've even invented a bunch of systems and sensors and all sorts of things to bring all this stuff together. So ideally, I find an investor who is an ethical family office who can be my true partner. Not just somebody, here's some money, go use it, give me my money, with my profit in 2 or 3 years. I don't want that kind of investor. I want somebody who's got people they can provide for us and help us with offices around the world, help us with their connections, and we'll lift the value of their portfolios and their mates' portfolios dramatically, more so than anyone else. And post-COVID-19, it's going to be huge because, of course, remote control of buildings, remote control of facilities and equipment, and safety within buildings is now a critical thing, and distance in buildings. And so we're able to cover all of these things. So to find a really good ethical business partner investor who can be involved in our business and help us multiply even further and dramatically, because our vision for the future in 5 years is to be turning over at least $10 billion a year. And it's actually possible. It really is where we are. We're in the right place at the right time, and we're leading the world with our technologies in what we've done. No one's done what we've done. And we've won a number of awards behind all of that stuff. So it's really exciting. But if I don't get the right investor, it's okay. Don't need it. We'll do it,
So what I hear you say, Bob, is like that it's that core, everything going through the core idea of ideals and the ethics and the morals and everything going through that filter before it comes to us. So whether that's the employees that are coming on board or the suppliers or the people that you're working with, it sounds like it doesn't make sense to you to bring on anybody that's outside of that, because it's just going to be a headache. And there you go. It's the square peg. It's the round peg in the square hole, or the opposite way around, isn't it? It's like, actually, look, I don't need any round pegs because we're all square pegs. Yeah, we want all square pegs, no matter what those. That's great. Final question to you. What is it that you are finding in, forget lockdown, because lockdown has kind of coming to an end, but what have you found in the last number of weeks, number of months that has set you above and beyond other companies? or other leaders, either way?
Yeah, I guess it's the vision post-COVID. Like, where are we going? Mind you, look, we've received more orders even during COVID, though some were delayed as a result of COVID, because a lot of things stopped, of course. But you know, working with Accor Hotels, for example, and other really good people during this time has been very helpful. But the vision post-COVID, as I've been talking with our channel partners around the globe, is huge. So what this has done is it has purposed us even further. And in fact, our growth, we're recalibrating our growth to be actually higher than it was, because post-COVID, there'll be companies that perhaps didn't want to look at these new technologies. They were too comfortable with the standard technologies because there are a lot of followers, not people willing to adapt to new technology, even if it means savings to the bottom line. And so you might have had 5% of people willing to look at, you know, new technology. Now, I think the discussion from building owners and companies will be, we're now not fussed about the technology. If your technology can deliver to our bottom line, please come and help us. If you can help us make the office safer, you know, for distancing and remote control of buildings and other things, please come in. We don't care if your technology is new. Show us that it works, you know, elsewhere. But that's it. We're willing to take it. So it's a huge path forward. So we're all more excited now than we were before.
Good, so good, and I'm so glad that you're a success story of the last few months and the last and this event, really. Bob, how do we get in contact with you if people want to talk to you, if they want to invest, if they're interested in the tech, if they're just interested in having a, you know, chit chat about saving the world? Where can they find you?
Gee, well, funnily enough, one of the guys I've been trying to get as one of my advisors, believe it or not, is Sir Richard Branson. But no luck so far. But one day,
Come on, Richard. Come on, Richard.
Come on, Richard. Come on down. Basically, firstly, my LinkedIn profile. I'm all over. There's lots of stuff there. So find me, Bob Sharon, at LinkedIn. But also our website is www.blueiot.com.au. And my details are on LinkedIn, so you can contact me via the website, and then I'll be happy to give you my mobile number, or contact me on Zoom, Teams, or even WeChat, whatever, WhatsApp, doesn't matter, any of those. And I'll be delighted to have a chat and see how we can collaborate and work together.
Fabulous. Bob, thank you so much. For everybody that's joined us for these SME stories, I hope you gained a lot of insight from Bob's story about energy and keeping the right people around you. You can subscribe right about here if you are interested. I think we're up to probably about 20 subscribers now, so we're doing well. But obviously this will be on LinkedIn as well. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you again for these SME Insights. Thank you again, Bob, and thank you all for joining us.